Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Late Night. We're here on the EU side as we kind of get a feeling of this last little meta before Surging Sparks. I'm joined by Michaela. Michaela, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Void. How are you?
I have a headache, but we're pushing straight through it. As I fix volumes and get everything else all set. So, have you seen anything really cool today as I find us our first match?
Well, we're clearing out the last of the dust out of this meta and looking at our top 16 that we have available to cast. Kind of an interesting pool. There's a lot of Palkia Terapagos, Palkia Noctowl, and for a moment that was not a deck that was seeing play. It seems people have figured out how to get it to work. Lugia is in our top spot, Lugia Archeops. Nothing particularly standout about that list. Although with the new Brilliant Blender on the horizon, Lugia list may be getting shaken up soon. Have you seen this card?
Yeah, but why don't you read it off for folks as I'm continuing to go and find us a match?
Well, I can't find my copy of it, but Brilliant Blender is a new ace spec that searches your deck. It's an item. Searches your deck for 5 cards and immediately discards them. So folks who remember Battle Compressor's back, baby!
Yeah,
Not that that's today's meta.
How long to get us there?
Well, you know, about 10 years.
That's okay.
Give or take. Give or take. It's been a long time since Phantom Forces.
Well, yeah, and honestly, that's okay too. But honestly, I'm excited to see, all these like new ace specs, like the new Guldengo themed ace spec. I'm excited to see, how that's going to affect the current meta. So
yeah, searching out all the energy in the deck is quite powerful, as the kids would say.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? You'd think that, you being able to just tutor for exactly what you need would be too strong. But you know what? We're going to jump right into a match right now. And we'll see you guys in like 2 seconds.
All right, send us in.
Alrighty, we're heading in right now. And here we are with one of our top 16 matches right now. Let me make sure that we have the link. Mr. Soda King over on Twitch. We got permission to restream his point of view as we watch this kind of interesting matchup. Do you know exactly what the matchup is here? It looks like the Terapagos Palkia list versus.
Yes, it is a mirror.
Oh, okay.
Now, granted, is it a complete 60-card mirror? I'm not entirely certain. Let's do a little cross compare. Mr. Soda King is playing Kirb, so K-I-R-B, like Kirby. Let's do a little cross check on how these two deck lists stack up.
So this was
both are running.
Sorry, go right ahead.
Both are running a 3/3 Hoot Hoot Noctowl line, a 2/2 Palkia line, 3 Terapagos with Kirb, 2 Terapagos with Soda King. Other than that, Soda King has got a couple. Kirb is playing the Volbeat Illumise Twilight Masquerade inclusion. People were talking about that on Twitter. This may have been the person talking about it on Twitter. Okay, Volbeat and Illumise. Yeah, you haven't seen this before?
I have not seen this before. Did you want to explain it real quick while I pull it up?
Yeah, this is a cook, okay? They sat down in the kitchen, they pulled out the pots and pans and said, no, we don't need any of this, and went straight to the blender. And the blender came out with this. Volbeat is a basic with the attack Quick Sign. If you go first, you can use this during your first turn. Just search for 2 basic Pokemon, put them on your bench. Illumise has the effect, you can only use this attack going second. If you do, you can shuffle one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all attached cards into their deck. Both attack for a single colorless energy. So whether you go first or second, you could use the Illumise to set up, to delay your opponent, or you could use the Volbeat to set up very quickly, using an attack on your first turn going first, which is usually impossible.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense anyway because of, Terapagos' attack not being able to be used first if you're going second anyway. There's no reason not to include, like, a weird tech attacker like that, right? Because, like, since you're not looking to go for an early KO, you might as well have something else that you can use in the meantime.
Another cute factor is the Volbeat's second attack, Coordinated Strike, for 2 colorless will deal a total of 80 damage if Illumise is on your bench. With weakness, that could get up to 160. So with the single double turbo, you could do 140. That's a 2-hit KO on certain Dark-type Pokemon like Charizard, which Terapagos already doesn't one-shot. So now you've got this one prize attacker that you could kind of sneak in for your 2-hit KOs. So a couple interesting uses there. For the most part, I think you're using those first 2 attacks, Quick Sign and Slowing Perfume. But I mean, these are cards that I have to read out to the chat. That's how you know this is a cook. I mean, it's exciting. It's new. It goes down on the bench. Your opponent goes, "What is this? I have to read it." Always a good strategy to throw your opponent off their mental game by introducing new elements to the game that they weren't expecting.
Well, and that's like one of the coolest things about Pokemon, right? As people can cook and as people get towards the end of these formats, they try to find anything that they can to really like set your opponent like off guard or off kilter, right? I mean, I know that normally we would be having like stuff like Fan Rotom first turn, as you can see that the opponent does have out right now, right? Curb is able to use that attack to discard the stadium, or I'm sorry, deal 70 if a stadium's in play, which is, you know, you're playing Terapagos, right? You always want to have a stadium in play. But, you know, you're not really, besides the Palkias and the Terapagoses, you're not really trying to attack.
Yeah, and then the other cool thing going on with both of these lists is, honestly, anytime you sit down in a mirror match, you know what your opponent is doing. So, just adding in that extra element could throw off the whole calculation.
Right, and here's the other thing that's really weird about these lists, right? Something that, like, you know, obviously I am not a Palkia, Terapagos Palkia master, but one of the things that I'm very interested in is the fact that neither deck plays Super Rod, because, like, you know, when you're in this mirror match, right, one of the things that your opponent's always going to try to do is bump that area 0 underdepths, and I'm thinking that with, you know, when you bump that, you probably want to try to get a reset on your Noctowls, on anything else you have in play, maybe, you know, maybe like getting that Clef Key back out, but without, I mean, I guess the Night Stretcher does it for you, but, like, sometimes you want to just be able to put that stuff back in.
Mm-hmm. And that's only for Mr. Soda King. I don't believe Curb runs a copy of the Night... Oh, there's two of them. They both have 2 Night Stretcher. I wasn't looking. Excuse me. You can use my eyes. But speaking on the state of the game...
Yeah.
Let's take a little peek here.
Well, it looks like Soda King has both sides filled up, is about to go refill with that Pheasantipity EX, gonna flip the script there. And, you know, you kind of have to decide what you want to do here. If you want to put a stronger attacker into the active, right? Because when you move something like that into the active, if you're not going to already get a one-hit knockout, you know how much damage your opponent's going to do because it's the same amount of damage you do. So whatever you put up there, they're going to deal right back to you. So it's like, okay, am I going to make my pieces vulnerable? Or am I going to sit back and kind of let my opponent take the first step and then play reactionary? But what do you think, Michaela? Do you think that you have to be aggressive here, or do you think you have to kind of sit back and, you know, let your opponent be the proactive one?
Looking at this field, I think you really want to take that first KO because both are so evenly set up. If you get that first KO, as long as you can continue to chain your attackers, you're not going to struggle in the end game. So I think if I were Mr. Soda King right now, I'm looking at this board, I'm looking at the 2 active Fan Rotoms going, it's my time.
Yeah, I totally believe it. And just like that, Mr. Soda King will take out the Fan Rotom, right, with their Fan Rotom. Super enjoying that right now, especially because the fact that there is an option for another Noctowl coming down. I'm not exactly sure what the Noctowl will grab. Maybe an Iono to try to shuffle in all those cards in their opponent's hand. But, you know, here comes the boss's orders. Probably dragging out maybe the Palkia. Yeah, it looks like to be the Palkia V-Star. And then they're going to try to get as much damage onto that Palkia V-Star as possible.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Definitely.
Okay.
Again, you know, this mirror match is so weird to see. Because, you know, they do everything you do. So, you know, you have to find, like, that tricky play that gets you around it. You can't even bump the area 0 underdepths to try to, you know, nullify your opponent's board. It's crazy.
Yeah, with the area 0 underdepths not being able to leave the field, that means you've got to make every single Noctowl count. Whereas in every other match, you could play a little fast and loose with it, but you have to be thinking multiple turns ahead to make this game play. We see a Palkia from the opposing side. I like that Curb's nickname is Swizzle Fizzle. That's going to be fun to say. With Palkia in the active, I'm expecting a one-hit KO, and that would take us to 3 to 4 prizes. So interesting time to have a 7th prize.
Yeah, and one big difference that I did see is that we see our current player having, or Mr. Soda King having a Klefki in the board for the basic hate, while Curb has the Spirit Tomb instead. I'm guessing that you really have to evaluate the matchups and what you're going up against to see if the Klefki or the Spirit Tomb is better. But while we think about that, we just saw Curb knock out the Palkia V-Star with their Palkia V-Star, something that, we were a little bit worried about tempo-wise.
Yeah, we used to see that a lot more often in, 2022. With Astral Radiance almost at its rotation point, we will not be seeing that for much longer, but we will be seeing it tonight for the rest of this top 16 match. Okay, Rotom re-enters the active. With that energy on it, the Jet will be able to retreat for free. And so this is now a battle of attrition. Without a Palkia in play, the only other attacker is Terapagos, and Terapagos is not going to take a one-shot KO. There's a quick search of the deck, but Bloodmoon Saluna is not able to hit 280 either. Oh, there's a Boss's Orders Gust. Gust will let you take a knockout on Pheasantipity, which will make it harder to draw out bonus 3 cards. But with the deck at 13, deck thinning is already not a concern across the field for Curb.
Yeah, I mean, with that many cards in hand, right? Like, you have the world to you.
Now, there was also an Iono in the hand, but I think Boss Orders had to happen there so that you could get the KO and keep the prize momentum going, because at 4 prizes remaining, if Mr. Soda King can take this knockout and set up that Palkia, there's nothing stopping them from getting that final 2 prize KO last turn and taking the win.
Now, looking at this here, right? Man, I cannot see it looks like the V-Star has not been popped yet.
Nope.
The V-Star ability. So that might be where this comes in. If it's not the Ursaluna, it might be the Palkia coming in, or Terapagos or something else happening here. Who knows? It might even be the Radiant Greninja.
Ooh, Radiant Greninja. It can only take a prize on the Rotom. It can't take the second one.
That's true.
Yeah, they'll have a turn to work around it, so there could be an Iono play. But without a boss or a Noctowl in hand, and with the Terapagos getting knocked out, that'll actually clear the whole field. That'll mean Area 0 Underdepths is no longer active. Right. It's an underrated aspect.
That's a very big underrated aspect. Man, this is the roughest part here. Like, I know that they are just getting, like, the knockout on the Pheasantipity, but if there's a counter catcher in hand, or left in deck still, right? Then Mr. Soda King is probably really okay here.
25 card deck. I feel fairly optimistic. Oop, Iono to 2 is not pretty, but you do have B-Barrel, so you can get out of that.
Look at that draw, though, off the Iono, right? The Noctowl coming down to be able to get a way out of this situation is huge, right? If
with the
left in deck, that's the win.
With the Terapagos preserved as well, any kind of search out will cover it, and there's still a Terra to use. So by choosing not to knock out the Terapagos, Noctowl remains alive. So maybe the boss there was a bit of a I don't want to say misplay, because knocking out the Pheasantipity is super useful as well.
Right.
But I don't know if that was the optimal play.
Yeah, and
okay,
honestly, I kind of agree with what's going on here, right? The idea is to redistribute and Star Portal, right, and attach stuff as needed. And is that enough to get the knockout back? Yeah, that's enough to get the knockout back. There you go. Honestly, it's really rough, right? Because you can, like you were saying, right? The prize momentum's the biggest thing that you need here. You got to take knockouts fast. You got to take knockouts first. Because, even though it enables stuff like the counter catcher, just being able to shut down your opponent, or I guess not shut down your opponent, but kind of like push forward and get to that win condition first is going to be huge.
Yeah, that turn clock was punishing as anything. I don't know what Curb could have done to squeeze out of it. Luckily, they'll get another chance in Game 2. I do believe we're doing top best of 3 for the top 16. And so we will get another round.
I'm very excited to see this, right? I mean, this is a deck that I wasn't able to wrap my head around when it first came out, right? I threw a bunch of games into it, and it just did not seem like my style. So I'm glad to see that this is really, able to take off.
So we have a commenter in chat asking about why there are 8 Pokemon on the bench. The answer to that question is that there is a new stadium called Area Zero Underdepths, and it reads that if you have a Terra Pokemon in play, you may have up to 8 Pokemon on your bench. That applies to both players. So since both players are playing a copy of Terapagos, which is a Terra Stellar type Pokemon, you'll be able to get a full bench of 8.
Now, when you play this list, right? Do you decide to go first or second? What do you think? As someone
Personally,
the deck more,
I'm a go first believer in almost every archetype, with the exception of Lost Box. But if you go first, you have faster evolutions. You have the faster time to get an attack off that's maybe more than 1 energy. I think in terms of momentum, going first puts you ahead in the prize race, even though you give up a little bit more security with things like using a supporter turn 2, going, turn 1 going second, or maybe certain kind of setup cards like Squawkabilly being harder to search out on your first turn. I'm a go first believer, always have been.
I understand, right? And like even since the rule change, right, of not being able to use supporters first turn, I still think that there's a huge advantage in Pokemon's just rewarding people who want to go first anyway. So, I 100% agree with that idea.
Yeah, the only place where I have a different opinion on that is in the new side game, Pokemon trading card game Pocket for mobile devices. Have you played that yet?
Yes, I have.
For those in chat who have not, it follows some similar rules to the card game, but instead of having 60 card decks, you have a 20 card deck, and the 20 card deck doesn't have energy in it. All of your energy are stored in a place called the Energy Zone. And a little twist that people may not have been expecting is that on your first turn going first, you cannot attach an energy in this side game, which all completely changes the analysis for me, because now it means attacks are maybe not evenly distributed, but the advantage is less to the player going first.
I mean, I'll tell you that most of my experience in the Pokemon TCG Pocket gameplay is simply just losing all my flips to Misty.
Rip, not Misty. The Misty flip math is an exercise in probability.
Right.
And it's real easy to get overwhelmed by the amount of times you flip tails and think that the card is rigged. Mm-hmm. But it's not. It's just easy to mistake. And I don't want to miss the Volbeat just got played to search out Terapagos and Palkia. I don't want to miss that. I think that's critical.
I mean, to be fair, right? Like, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. How that Volbeat has just done a whole bunch in this game. It's insane. Like, just being able to grab your last little piece. So you get to Famroton, like, grabbing Noctowls and Hoot Hoots as well. Like, you can lean more into the Noctowls if you want, because you're going to get to put more stuff on the bench.
Interesting Squawkabilly, discarding the Fez and Dippity. There'll be no Dippity on the field early. It's going to have to get called out later with Night Stretcher. There is a Vessel on the field. Noctowl goes down. A copy of Water Energy in the hand, but not a second one. That's an interesting play. Why would someone be motivated to do that?
To only grab one? I'm trying to think of what the advantage is, right? It's not like you're playing Lost Box, right? Where when you're in Lost Box and you want to be able to, grab them out of your deck, you would maybe leave one in, right? One of a certain type in, but I really don't see the advantage of leaving a second one in. But
so I think
there's like a big brain move somewhere.
I want to say the big brain move here was that by putting that single Water Energy in the hand, as soon as they used the professor's research, it went to the discard. The discard already had 1 water in there, so now there are 2 Water Energy in discard. So the thought is you could be able to use Palkia's ability, the V-Star ability, and attack just off of that single discard.
Oh, that's actually a really good thought.
Mm-hmm. But if you put 3 in there, then you're less likely to draw one out. But it does charge up a Greninja play, which is totally valid because there's both that low energy Volbeat and the low HP Rotom. So that's a 2 prize option.
Right, and not only is it a yeah, you're right, and you get to just throw them back into discard to eventually grab later with stuff like Night Stretcher. You know what? I'm behind the Radiant Greninja idea. I think that's probably one of the best ways to push forward with it.
Mm-hmm. The problem is that would have required searching out 2 Water Energy
right.
and discarding both of them. So maybe, there's also an argument that deck thinning is good, but do you want to thin out all of your energy?
Right, exactly. And I guess the idea is that how thirsty are you going to be later on for that extra energy drop, right? Like
for that Water Energy, I'm drinking it up, bro.
Yeah, you got to drink it up.
Sorry, I didn't mean it. There's a Noctowl on the field and a stadium in play. That means that bench is probably going to get fill. What are they searching for off this Noctowl? Their hand is small.
Yeah, they got the nest ball and the research, it looks like.
Okay.
Excited
Choice.
to see where... I mean, so, like, this makes sense, right? So you throw either another Hoot onto the bench. Maybe you throw another Terapagos onto the bench or another Palkia. Oh, Radiant Greninja, perfect. And then, you know, you go to discard your hand, draw a little bit more, get yourself set up, get ready to try to get that attack out ASAP. Because as you were saying for last game, right, you want to have your attacks out ASAP.
Okay, there's a Prime Catcher coming down. Probably going to knock out Bidoof. That's not who I would have said.
Oh, actually, you know what? This is kind of like what we were talking about earlier, right? So you use the... You're going to research away your hand, right? You're going to load up that Radiant Greninja, and you're going to KO the Bidoof and the Hoot, which will really put up behind Mr. Soda King.
Uh-oh, there goes all the one prizers that search out stuff. Now how are you going to do your turn? Well, I mean, what can you do with just a Palkia and an Ultra Ball?
Well, there is a boss's orders, right? So maybe you go... Man, this is so rough. You don't even have really much to discard to with the Ultra Ball. You don't want to discard that boss's orders unless you super need to.
Yeah, and the other... I mean, you could discard your top deck, but the other problem is that with 2 Pokemon knocked out, your bench consists of nobody? I mean, everyone has gone south for the winter? With no Bidoof, no Hoot, no Noctowl, you have a bench of 3 things and none of them are Terapagos. You're not going to be getting the 8 Pokemon damage that you're expecting off of your Palkia attacker.
Yeah, this is really interesting to see, like, you know, how do you get yourself out of this type of position? There's no Lumineon, like we usually have seen in the past, that kind of pull you out of this position. Man, this must not be feeling good for Mr. Soda King. I mean, at this point, right, do you play it out or do you try to conserve time and, you know, concede the round and just move to the next round? Because, like, you know,
let's see how much
go ahead.
Time they have left. No, I'm checking to see how much time they have left. It is a tight squeeze. I mean, if this were me in my shoes, I wouldn't quit this turn. I'd give it another couple of turns to just see how it pans out. They're going to be long turns, and if they take forever, then yeah, scoop and go to game 3 would be the move in like a regional setting where you have a best of 3 in 50 minutes.
Right.
But playing online, you do conserve a lot of that time shuffling. I think you can afford to be a little more risky, especially from the winning position of 1-0.
Right.
I would keep playing it out just to see. Maybe this top deck will save the day. No, it will not save the day. That is a Spiritomb.
Yeah, and that's the real rough part, right? Because, like, you know, when you play stuff like Spiritomb and Klefki, which are needed in these matchups, right, to really get you out of, like, the really rough positions, sometimes they can just add dead draws. And so, you know, this is Pokemon TCG. Sometimes you just get unlucky, and that's okay.
Bro is strategizing to the limits. Like, there are... What do you do here? I mean, like, you could put down the Spiritomb, but then you have to discard the boss's sword off the Ultra Ball. And maybe you could have 2 more bench Pokemon, but they're not going to draw you cards because Fezandipity is in the discard, and they're not going to get you out of what is ultimately a Star Portal for 2 and Prey. I mean, like, there's another world where you keep the Spiritomb in hand, you use Ultra Ball to discard it, and grab maybe a Hoot, so you have a Noctowl,
Right.
but then you still have to top deck a Terra Pokemon. It doesn't work.
I mean, look,
opting...
Zaxxas is fine, taking some prizes. It's just that this doesn't feel good because...
Oh, wait. Oh, you know, I've been playing Palkia for how many years, and I forgot that it counts both sides Pokemon. Do you ever just have a moment where you don't do the math? I'm having a moment right now where they did 280 and it was like, how did that happen? And, you know, we could have known.
Well, I mean, look, you know, we do have the trumpet in hand, right? So we could see, like, you know, Ultra Ball, discard the top deck Noctowl, get yourself a Terapagos, right? Last trumpet to start to kind of set up, or you get... I mean, it's so rough. But I think
we could be back. I mean, this board state is abysmal. I mean, you've got nothing prepared. You've got no easy switches. You barely searched your deck. It's 31 cards to 17, so card advantage is on the other side. If you were across that kind of a field, looking at 8 Pokemon, Pheasantipity, lots of attackers. They have a 1 prizer up. What do you even do?
Honestly, if I'm Soda King, right, Mr. Soda King, I don't. So the first thing I do is, unless I have something that is going to progress my board state, right, like really push me through, I'm not benching anything, right? I'm not adding to that damage number.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that, oh wait, here's the fan Rotom to soften up that.
The fan to soft what?
It makes sense though, right? So like, maybe the boss is gonna come in next turn to knock out the Palkia on the bench.
No, man, I can't support this cook. I mean, Rotom, you got all his attackers. I mean, I guess if you don't have anything to attach to Terapagos or to Palkia, but like, whoo, that feels bad.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting. The type of gameplay we're seeing today. Not that it's bad gameplay. It's just,
no.
I
mean,
it's angles I haven't shot for yet. And there's the boss's orders that we were just talking about before. You get the boss's orders, you boss up the Terapagos, knock it out. Maybe you don't even boss up the Terapagos.
The only con, you got to get the Pheasantipity, I think, because the Terapagos is keeping your bench or your ability to damage up.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Maybe you grab the Palkia so that they don't have another attacker.
Ooh, you get the Palkia. That's actually so giga-brained. Because then you can't get it later.
Exactly. Yeah, you grab the Palkia here. Because, you know, Palkia being straight up off your bench, or your and your opponent's bench, versus the Terapagos, which is what, only your bench? Man, I always get mixed up with Terapagos and Palkia. One sec. I have to double check my work.
Bro is checking his work. 2 water energy off the prizes. Good lord.
Hey, you know what? Very thirsty, getting sated. Let's go.
Bro is dehydrated.
Well, one goes to, discard to Radiant Greninja. Other gets attached or gets thrown out with Ultra Ball. Not bad at all.
I think a Glass Trumpet play to get a Terapagos might be in order.
I gotta think about that.
Because, I mean, you can't attack with the other Palkia V-Star this turn. Or, like, his upcoming turn. Because you haven't attached, and there's no more Melanie in format, and you have used your V-Star ability. So, like, Misty's not in this game. You're going to need an attacker.
That's true. So, okay, so you're saying Glass Trumpet onto...
Terapagos, and then... I guess you've already played both boss, but, like, a catcher and a Dippity? Something.
Yeah, it's real rough. No matter what happens here, there's no good way to go about it.
Yeah, no easy answers. Spiritomb is down. Those pesky basic Vs with no abilities are gonna have no abilities. Iono?
Okay.
Ooh. Ooh, no, that hand is not workable! Sir!
Out of this. See, and there you go. There's the problem. There's the idea of the fan Rotom keeping that buff up, right?
You know, I was a hater, and now I see.
Sometimes you just gotta weaken something just a little bit, right? Here's hoping that there's no bosses in your opponent's hand. There's a Jet Energy. I would discard the Jet Energy right away.
This is... I mean, you have to do it. You have to do it. How do you get out of this? Okay.
Viridian Night Stretcher.
We need a Night Stretcher back. Maybe the Palkia V-Star?
Wait. Yeah, no, you go Nest Ball, right?
Okay.
Nest Ball grabbing,
Blood Moon? Blood Moon or Saluna?
I was thinking
Blood Moon or Saluna?
No, but so here's the thing, right? Nest Ball grabs Terapagos. Terapagos expands the bench. You go evolve into Noctowl.
With what? No, Noctowl's out of hand.
Isn't there one in the discard with Night Stretcher?
Oh. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, so you go
Giga
Night Stretcher.
Brain.
You go Night Stretcher. Night Stretcher grabs two trainers, right? So the two trainers are probably going to be like night not another Night Stretcher. You gotta go like God, there's a path
What
to
do you
victory.
get?
Ursaluna's the way to go, and then you trumpet from hand.
How do you switch to it?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the way that you.
I just-
We'll see. Maybe Night Stretcher's gonna grab Pheasantipity, hoping to grab a Gen Energy.
Okay,
Oh, no, you just
okay.
grab a water. Yeah, there you go. That's so.
Well, no.
good.
How do you have to retrieve the Spiritomb?
You attach to the active?
I'm foolish. You're so right. You're so right.
Oh my gosh, Michaela. This was like the big brain play, you know?
I mean,
like-
they could have done that before the knocked owl.
I
Being
mean,
for real.
Yeah? No, they work them they have earned their top 16 spot. Mr. Soda King coming in with the 2-0 on this round. We are
Yeah,
going
that was
to-
excellent.
Sorry, go right ahead.
No, I'm saying that was excellent, and I'm just in awe of the master class that we got to witness here. Curb, unfortunate, but Mr. Soda King just sort of had the sauce.
We're gonna transition straight back into Caster Cam real quick. And with that, guys, I mean, I hope you guys had enjoyed that matchup. That matchup was so cool. That was something that, like, you know, you didn't really expect to, like, see a masterclass in Palkia Terapagos today.
It was really good sequencing as well, so that was a good learning opportunity. And, you know, it's always nice to see your lovely face again, Boyd.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
glad we're back at Cass here.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I don't exactly have my camera up for you to see easily, so you have to pay like everybody else does to see the Shuffle Squad stream that is free. So,
Man, my whole $0. Goodness gravy. Where do I
You
get
know what?
content like that this cheap?
I was gonna say it is at a premium, so. Okay, but I mean, overall, like, we got to see one deck today. Deck wasn't bad at all, right? Like, you know, both players played pretty well. I'm excited to see what else we can grab in the top 8 as we kind of pester some folks to see what our matchups are. But while we wait, we do have Mr. Soda King seems to be playing again against Lugia. Alex Hamilton is playing the classic Lugia deck. So while we pull that up, we will be right back. So see you guys in a sec. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. You guys get to see a little bit different of an angle today. We are seeing Alex Hamilton's side from the Mr. Soda King matchup, where it looks to be Lugia versus Palkia Terapagos. So how do you feel about this one, Michaela? How do you feel about this matchup in particular?
We're getting a second look at this Soda King deck, and pairing it against Lugia this time. This is an interesting matchup because this is an unusual Lugia list from my perspective. It's running a 3/3 Minccino Cinccino, which is mostly fallen out of favor from what I recall. So seeing it back, 2 Lumineon, 1 Iron Hands, 1 Blood Nurse Luna, this is a pretty good lineup of attackers into this Palkia deck. And the other cool thing is that Iron Hands does have weakness, so if you soften up a single one of those Palkia, it's worth 3 prizes. Pretty good.
Honestly, that is always like the biggest thing in these matchups, right? Like, you know, what can Iron Hands take down easily, right? Like, when is their weakness? How much does it hit for, right? Always like one of the things you want to bring into consideration.
Yeah, it's a whole host of options. And then one of the other interesting things about this format is that with Terapagos having 230, normally it's the sort of HP level that Lugia V-Star would be able to take out. Lugia does not have those powers here. Instead, the only thing that can knock that out is the Cinccino, or in the late game, a Blood Moon or Saluna. So Terapagos may actually be a pretty useful attacker here. That's not always the case.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, you know, like Lugia is, they don't call it the lottery deck for nothing. It lives and dies by its hands that it draws. But, like, you know, an opening hand of Mezagosa, Lugia V, Minccino, and Professor's Research was really good. But
that's rough.
So much.
No, the judge away the lone Archeops Professor hand feels bad. I mean, it's so much of an ask to get those Archeops into the discard immediately. The whole deck has to be built around it, and if you don't draw the cards you want, oh, sorry, you're going to be a turn behind, which is so critical in games with so few turns. So, don't like that judge for them. Feels bad, man. Doesn't matter, we're going to squawk and seize about it.
Yeah, and, you know, as we saw before, right, like, you know, judges being in the format, Ionos being in the format, we are super disruptive to our opponents. So, you know, if I'm Mr. Soda here, I absolutely want to play that judge as soon as possible. Disrupt anything that gets my opponent, you know, kind of up and running, especially when I have Squawkabilly up there. But there the Fan Rotom goes. It picked up what? It looked like a Hoot Hoot, a Noctowl, and, you know, I have Mr. Soda King stream open. I can just look. It looks like it picked up 2 Hoot Hoot and a Noctowl.
Okay, good. That's lots of card search going on as soon as you can get out the stadium you want. With the Mesagosa down, you also get the cool flip before you do that, so yet another resource to fill up your bench. It's one of the things that we were talking about last game is that if you have the Area 0 underdepths in play, you have 8, but you should expect versus other decks it'll be repeatedly taken out, so you have to replenish your Hoot Hoot and Noctowl count. So that explains the Rotom surge.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, like, right now we see those water energies going to hand with the Earthen Vessel. I'm very interested to see, like, you know, are we going to go with the strategy of dumping energies out as soon as possible? Because it looks like we're trying to attach in places to get, you know, stuff retreating and et cetera, but, you know, as we saw earlier with the Fan Rotom attacks, we're getting that again to knock out the Minccino.
Okay, I want to talk about a play I just witnessed,
yeah,
right? Earthen Vessel discards an Earthen Vessel, gets 2 water energy. Trumpet puts the 2 energy on Fan Rotom and on the active Squawkabilly Retreat. Why not use both Earthen Vessels, get 3 energy, and then put the 3rd water energy manually onto the Terapagos and the Trumpet on a Terapagos? I mean, why go for this play to knock out with Fan Rotom? And the answer to that is Fan Rotom is a single prize liability instead of a 2 prize liability.
Right.
But, I mean, like, the only thing that can knock it out is the Cinccino, which just got put down. So that's pretty good to conserve your resources. Ooh, no. That's not a good Great Ball. We needed the Lugia V-Star there, and we don't have the Lugia V-Star in play. That's not going to be able to take the KO either, because, we're going to retreat into the Lugia. Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, this is not what you want to see from a Lugia V-Star deck. Again, there's a reason why it's called the lottery.
those coin flips are punishing. But not for Mr. Soda King, who just got heads on his opponent's Mezagosa. It's gonna search for... Could be anything. Probably Palkia V-Star, give or take.
Radiant Greninja looks like to be the play of what's
I think we're gonna see the Area 0 Underdepths come down in that scenario then.
Yeah, so Noctowl's gonna be played from hand to evolve and grab that Area 0.
This is Mr. Soda King's tournament to lose at this rate. I mean, we're seeing perfect, flawless execution of what is admittedly a super complicated deck. I mean, there's tons of moving parts and sequencing to consider, and here we are, just sort of ripping along with Lugia, kicking rocks, as it were.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, you wouldn't expect a Lugia V-Star deck to really be, you know, you don't really see it be openly this hostile to its player. Right? But, you know, it always stinks when it happens.
Yeah. You want to know some cool Lugia facts?
Sure.
All right. So, this is... Other people may know this as well. When Lugia was created for the second Pokemon movie, the person who was writing that movie, I believe his last name is Shudo, I don't remember his first name, believed that Lugia was a maternal Pokemon and was going to be movie exclusive.
Okay.
I mean, there was a time period in the history where Lugia was not going to be the box mascot for Silver.
See, that kind of makes sense, though, right? Because of, like, how the movie ended up going around, you know, like, how Pokemon the movie 2000 felt versus how Silver felt.
Can you elaborate on that? I'm very curious.
Well, before we elaborate, let's just watch that Terapagos probably get the knockout on the...
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be it's gonna be brutality, man.
Yeah.
Just...
Yeah.
That's the whole career in shambles. We need this professor's research to go off.
I mean, look, if I think Lugia could still pull it back.
Oh, there it is.
Right?
Ultra Ball. It's gonna require some serious work to come back from a 6-3 deficit.
I mean, come on, we've seen stranger things happen, right?
As an Atlanta sports fan, I never get my hopes up that high.
That's true.
Okay. With 2 Archeops in the discard, it is time for a Summoning Star. But first, using that clock to its fullest extent to think of what are all the options here. What are the best KOs to take? Is it worth it to take the KO on the Terapagos? And the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah, I think so too, especially because, you know, let's be real honest, right? You don't want to put any more Pokemon onto the bench that really need to be because of, you know, how much
Palkia
interaction this deck plays.
Gift and Legacy. Ooh, hold on.
Legacy going on too?
I might go on in the Chinchino to make a 0 prize liability attacker, which is an interesting play. Not impossible. If they could chain Chinchinos, then maybe that's one way out of the deficit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lugia's got a lot of options, but all of them revolve around this legacy energy, and you could only really get that prize denial effect once, so make it count. Going for a double turbo instead. Maybe on the second primal turbo? Yeah, I think that's fine as well. I mean, this may be early to commit the legacy energy, especially with no other attackers, or at least no other Minchino on board. Ooh, there's a legacy energy again, flirting with the idea it could go down onto that Chinchino anytime now.
It's so crazy.
They're doing it.
Yeah, you got to.
You've got to do what you've got to do. And what you've got to do right now is remove those prize problems. I don't like that field. There's nothing that you could put down to set up another Chinchino. And if you're using Lugia to take what is ultimately not going to be a knockout, I don't know if you could come back from that 3-6 problem.
I mean,
maybe there's something I'm not seeing.
Straight up looking at, you know, Mr. Soda King's hand, there's like, you know, Palkia V-Star is there. There is a Noctowl if you... I'm sorry, there is no Noctowl, so, you know, there's no Revenge knockout, but there are 3 energies in the discard, so we might see the Palkia V-Star really pop off here.
We are being given all kinds of perspectives. We usually don't get to see both players' hands at the same time, so we're able in this game for once on stream to say, this is what Mr. Soda King has. This is what Alex Hamilton has. This is the play from both sides of the field. We can navigate this with our galaxy brains as the casters in our ivory tower. We don't always get that kind of a treat.
That's
nice.
True. And even though you didn't see it, the draw off the barrel was Prime Catcher and 2 Jet Energies.
Ooh, yummy.
Probably discarding one of the Jet Energies.
Yep.
Just because it's not
Fine.
really needed at this point. And a Kieran was drawn off the top too, so we might have a fancy play here.
Yeah, another underrated aspect of what's going on here is that the V-Star ability hasn't been used, and by using this Prime Catcher, you're going to conserve it even more, because the minute another set of Minccino drops down, that's 2 prizes you could grab, so...
Ooh, there's the Kieran coming down?
Ooh, Kieran coming down. Ooh, there's a Palkia. Okay, we're going to use the V-Star ability on the Palkia, and go to a total of 1 prize remaining. Good gravy. That's a single boss onto an Archeops for game.
Honestly,
So...
I think that was super needed. Like everything about that was probably the correct way to go, because of the fact that you need to, like, the way that you lose is by locking out the Minccino, right? Or I'm sorry, the Cinccino, right? By locking out the Cinccino and not getting any prizes. Yeah, they can't attack anymore, but they can load up whatever they want with Archeops ASAP.
And you've gained nothing by taking out a 0 prize attacker. In fact, you just lost your turn.
Right, exactly. And looking at Alex's hand versus Mr. Soda's hand, right? Mr. Soda's hand has the second area under 0 underdepths in it. So God forbid, if this one gets knocked out, like we were hovering before, there will be a second one to follow up with.
Iono to 1 is usually a very strong play, but with Babero on the opposing side, is that gonna do enough?
I don't think so. I mean,
you have to do something. Okay, what are we gonna get off this 4-card hand? Not looking good. Not looking good. There's not a lot of tools there.
I don't hate it, right? It's not the worst that's come out, but you need to set up a second Cinccino.
Yeah. A attacker. I mean, a Blood Moon or Saluna, or a search card. Okay, Capturing Aroma could get that Blood Moon or Saluna that you need, but if a Palkia comes into the active, okay, Night Stretcher, probably for a Noctowl, and Noctowl will secure the game. I mean, that's not a question. You grab a boss, the game is secured. I mean, you still need an energy to attack. So, I mean, we did see 2 Earthen Vessels go down earlier. This is a Night Stretcher.
Yeah,
it's Joker. Yep.
Yeah. Look,
and that's the game.
Honestly, Mr. Soda King's been very, very good at piloting the lists, so...
No, it was so sharp. That was so sharp.
Yeah,
it's bad luck with Cinccino.
Yeah, I just can't believe it, right? Not only is Alex, like, having bad hands with Lugia, but he's up against a list that knows how to play the Palkia.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy.
Could turn it around, though, in Game 2 of this best-of-3 set. This game is going to be for all the top 8 in the T set. So if we can get another win from Mr. Soda King, that's straight into top 4. Masterful work on both of our streamed games. If Alex Hamilton can take the dub here, then he's got another chance to claw this one back. But it's gonna be closer. It's gonna come down to getting some good Lugia hands, and I've never heard an oxymoron quite like that.
Well, I mean, like, again, right? The reason why Lugia does so well is because it has these explosive hands, and it becomes a menace, right? But you got to take the variance with the deck.
Yep. Which is why I'm so excited about Brilliant Blender. I mean, you could probably recreate this entire deck just with a different ace spec, as long as we're willing to sacrifice Legacy Energy. But Legacy Energy is such a core part of the Lugia identity now. Mm-hmm. I mean, is it even... Can you do that? I mean, is it worth it for being able to Arven into Brilliant Blender and to get double Archeops and discard? I think it is. But that's cope.
I think consistency will be king, right? I know the fact that I think you would rather have a deck that's consistent rather than having a deck that's able to use this Legacy Energy. Think about how many... Like, we would see a list maybe with Arvens instead, right? You see Arvens to grab the ace spec. Like, think about how crazy that would be.
I mean, you'd have to... The only thing that sort of gets me about that is I've been looking at the list coming out of Japan in the Surging Sparks format, which is a little different because it's the Japan format, different rules, yada, yada, yada. I haven't seen any Lugia using Brilliant Blender. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places.
No,
but none of the...
You're probably right. right? Like, but remember, we have a ton of people that innovate,
Mm-hmm.
based on like what our matchups are here. So you'll see a bunch of people throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
That'll be me. I'll be throwing things at the wall very frequently. Okay, Archeops is going to the discard. Who's joining him? Will it be the Jet Energy? Will it be Carmine? It will be Carmine.
I'm surprised at that. Well, I guess.
No, it might not be Carmine. Oh, debate.
I don't know. Do you agree with ditching the Carmine?
No, it's turn 1 going first. I want to have the Carmine.
I mean, like,
but
what
that's...
else did you grab, right? You grab... Oh, I guess maybe it's because you don't want to... You feel really weird. Okay, so hear me out. I think I have an idea of why you don't do that.
Preserve the Lugia V-Star?
You have a Lugia V-Star in hand. You're guaranteed to get Lugia V-Star. You attach Jet Energy next turn. You Iono, hoping to hit pieces to discard for the second. And if you don't guarantee the second discard of the Archeops, at least you can, have it on a later turn.
I think it's such a fight to get Carmine in your hand going first that, like, I got a little bit of tunnel vision about it, going, oh yeah, you got a Carmine while you have the chance. Like, just when you get the most value from it, you should totally do it. But, like, you have a point. Guaranteeing the Lugia V-Star is a serious benefit that you are not helping by discarding one. I mean, what does the Night Stretcher count in this list? It can't be the same. It can't be a 2 Night Stretcher list. No, there's not even 1 Night Stretcher in here. So, yeah.
So it's just gone. Now...
Spirit Tomb is not going to do much here. One of the Luminion is already active, and a second one is not going to come down. But, I mean, you need the bench full. You never know. This is one of the few matchups where Spirit Tomb actually does stop a basic V, so totally worth doing it. Well, it's just not going to do anything.
If you're lazy and you don't want to look at your opponent's list like I am, like I'm lazy and I don't want to look at my opponent's list at all, right?
Bro, for real?
You know how lazy I am? I'm just like, I'll just beat them out of sheer force of will, right?
Bro, for real? That's a whole other card game.
Look, don't get me started. Sorry, Force of Will. Don't get me started.
Well, I won't. I've never played it. I'm enjoying the Force of Mr. Soda King at the moment.
That's true.
Who's just dropped down to Terapagos and Stadium.
So in hand is 2 Jet Energies, a Kirin, and a Professor's Research. Fan Rotom has not been used yet. So I wonder if we're gonna get a shot on the on the Luminion V just to weaken it up, to allow for something like a Greninja to deal some hits. I don't know. This is such like a tough situation.
That's like a 3-hit KO. Okay, Jet Energy.
Yep.
This could be a cook. Research. Bye-bye, Kirin.
Okay, it looks like Klefki, Palkia V, Earthen Vessel, Nest Ball, 2 Night Stretchers, and another Stadium. But the Fan Rotom will grab a Bidoof, Hoot Hoot, and a Noctowl.
Interesting choice I mean, this is a sequencing thing. Interesting choice to research before you Rotom. Because you could go Rotom, not grab a Hoot Hoot, and then use the research, and that means you have one less reason to draw more Hoot Hoots or B-Burl than you actually need.
Right.
But I think the choice to make sure that you research first and Rotom second, guaranteeing that Noctowl, is pretty good because 2 trainers in the hand is worth like 6 or 7 possible options just off of a random research draw. But it's important to note the order of operations there. You might be tempted to play the Rotom as soon as you drop it down. I was talking about tunnel vision earlier. Tunnel vision is so easy to get in this game because it's just so fun to play. You've got all these different kinds of things to do in a turn. It didn't used to always be that way. And now as the decks get more complex, it's easy to forget, the basics. That's why it's so impressive to see this top 8 match where both players are clearly playing at their peak. The last game, we can really just blame on Lugia hands happening. Alex knows what he's doing. Mr. Soda King knows what they're doing. The cooks are cooking in the kitchen.
Well, yeah, of course. And, we're about to learn why,
Ooh, single Archeops. Ooh.
Honestly, I don't even hate it, right? At a certain point, you have to go enough's enough, right? I'm going to get ahead, right? Every time that you take a knockout and you don't get your Archeops to, bossed, you're gonna be in a very good spot here. But
that feels so bad. Discarding the Stadium is super essential though. Let's not sleep on that.
But I don't want to spoil it too much. But there's a Prime Catcher in Mr. Soda King's hand.
Well, I didn't know that. I don't believe it. I think you're full of cap, and there's no way on this earth that a prime catcher is gonna come down this turn and knock out the lone Archeops. I don't believe it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta believe.
There's no way. And granted, you could have just like knocked out for that prime catcher that totally isn't in the hand.
Right. It could be prized. Who knows?
It could be prized. It's just you forgot to put it in the deck this morning. Not that I would accuse Mr. Soda King of slacking.
Yeah,
I would never do that.
Well, slacking's not out yet, so next set.
Isn't there a slacking in Pokemon Go?
Oh, I was gonna say slacking EX comes out in
Yeah, that's true.
in Surging Sparks.
That's true. How are you feeling about Surging Sparks? I know there's a whole game in progress that I'm about to like just derail you from.
No,
but how are you
okay,
feeling about
that's okay.
Surging Sparks?
I'm very, very interested in some of the lists that are going to come out of it. We have a whole bunch of A specs, and like they all seem really good, except for the fact that we have some that are just even like so better, like they get overshadowed.
Yep.
I will probably be a Goldengo player coming out of it though, because I think that'll be super fun.
Goldango has been consistently underestimated and consistently topped for the last 2 years. Really?
Yeah, it's so
like
insane.
Goldango as a card is so good.
I might be a Hydreigon EX player too. That deck seems really fun. Just
A Hydreigon believer?
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't really like a lot of the Terra type attacks that have basically Lost Box looking attack costs. Hydreigon being one of those. I love the spread damage.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like how unsustainable it is to have a stage 2 with a 4 cost attack. It just hurts some small part of my soul. Just like that prime catcher. Just devastated.
Yeah.
Just
there we go,
devastated by
getting
that.
a knockout on. Man, you hate to see it, right?
You
There's
hate
only
to
one
see it.
Archeops.
Who could have seen this coming? It
Not
was
me.
completely
Not me.
unexpected.
If I didn't see that in hand, I would have been like, oh, whoa, wait a second. He had the out.
Past their prime catcher.
Oh, dang.
Rip Archeops into the discard. Fossil Pokemon. Rip. There's not more I could say other than we lost a good one today.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you lose all your Archeops, it's not over, but it feels like it's over.
Yep.
Part of you just
A lot of
goes,
people have
"Do I
played
wanna
out.
play?"
Ooh, legacy energy on the Minchino. That was
Yeah.
pretty quick. To be fair, you're not going to be powering up an Iron Hand, so yeah, that's where it's going to go. But boss for the Terrapagos knockout? I mean, that just feels bad. Ooh, Palkia knockout. Now that's interesting.
Yeah,
You
I
work
like
with
the
that.
Palkia knockout here. That means that, if first of all, it forces them to put something else on the board that they don't want to put out, right?
Yeah, bad news bears though. By getting rid of that stadium, so too goes the Terrapagos. So you don't get to
Right.
conserve both options. You're going to lose a 2-prize reliability, but at least what you can do is get rid of both of them in one sweep. Control the board, baby.
I will tell you though that the thing I am excited for with Surging Sparks, I'm a Flygon EX believer. I think hidden running will be super fun.
It's a good attack. Not gonna lie.
No, look at the bug on screen. Oh, you guys can't see it. There's no hand on Mr. Soda King's hand. Their hand is just stuck.
Oh no.
Like, they
Not like
can't
this.
draw oh, no, wait, hold on.
Do we
It just went through.
Okay. Whew. Energy Terrapagos. Be barrel for 2. I mean, the bugs in this game have got to get squashed.
Look, one day we'll get there, right?
Yeah, we'll get there. It'll happen. Okay, Lugia is chilling at 170. There's a Chinchino down, but Terror of Terrors, putting down a Jet Energy means that Chinchino has to go active and you just retreat it, and you've just wasted the Jet Energy. So you basically can't attach this turn, or you get a 2-hit KO, which, not out of the question. Getting a 2-hit KO is kind of what you already have to do.
Yeah, it's respectable, and
feel
force
bad.
your opponent to have to sit there and just take it.
I kind of wish they'd Great Balled so that Great Ball could grab out a card to thin.
Yeah, maybe have some sort of out there.
Yeah, I mean what are you gonna do? Hindsight is 2020. Squawkabilly. Water energy. This may be patched up for Mr. Soda King.
Yeah, Mr. Soda King has a boss's orders in hand too. Boss's orders.
Oh Lord!
To get the Lugia V-Star.
The good news is that gift energy will permit this 2-hit KO to happen, and they're not so far behind in prizes this time that it will be a lost cause. But I don't think the cause is. Oh, that feels bad. You can't even 2-hit KO the Terrapagos. That.
Yeah, it's
real
rough. You know, Mr. Soda King really playing this very, very good here. I'm excited to see, like... Oh, and the prize cards, by the way, Iono and Iridia.
Okay. The end game is not unwinnable, but it's dire. You're going to need to knock out both the Terrapagos and the Palkia, and you're going to need to do it with the Cinccino and the Bloodmoon Ursaluna. You're going to have extra turns to do it, but you can't mess it up.
Correct. There's no way to... There is a path forward, but like not a great one, right?
Nope.
I do think that I guess you could play the Luminion, but I really don't know. Well,
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's fine.
I don't like it.
I'm gonna take it back. You know why it's fine? It's fine because there's already another Luminion out there, and we're at the point that it doesn't matter, right? It's not like they're gonna boss up the Luminion.
I'm at this world where I'd rather keep the Luminion in hand in deck, so for your last turn you can use it to search out a boss's order. I think it's just premature to get rid of it now. Yeah. I think you go for the Cinccino here. Well, you already have one in hand. Maybe you go for the bear. Okay, now that you get the... I mean, if you keep the bear in your hand, you're vulnerable to Iono, but you're already vulnerable to Iono because you have just nothing going on in your board. Like, period. Like, it's over on that side of the board.
Yeah, so
okay, here's the fish.
Your opponent to Iono right now by Luminioning for, like, a boss's orders for saying, like, if you don't do anything about this now, I will get the... Oh, never mind. They're just going to get the knockout with the boss's orders. I like that.
Drop the bear, okay, and no gift energy means that hand is not going to get replenished, so these two prizes better be good. Okay?
That's actually...
You know, the other cool thing... Oop. No, that's super workable, but the other cool thing is that Bloodmoon Ursaluna cannot be one-hit KO'd by Terrapagos, even if that bench were to miraculously fill up a third time. So... Bloodmoon Ursaluna is looking to clear down this game now that Palkia's out of the picture. There's not going to be another Palkia V-Star drop down this turn because you can't just evolve it at the same time. This game might go Lugia's way. This may be a comeback, kid.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, like, you know, if we do move on to a game 3, how this will work out if both start off at their best. But, you know... I mean, like, let's be honest. What's the thing that's hindering Alex the most? And that's playing Lugia V-Star, right? Like, playing the deck.
Well, Lugia is out of commission at the moment. He's sitting in the discard. He's sitting in the deck. He's not doing anything. And so maybe just getting rid of Lugia was the answer all along. We moved past the need for Lugia.
Could you imagine?
Society if Lugia. Society if no Lugia.
Society if Lugia V-Star was out of the Lugia V-Star deck?
That would just be the deck. What are you doing for Marin Cinccino? What am I looking at? What am I looking at?
I don't know.
Are you expecting to top deck a Jet Energy? Excuse me?
Well, maybe it's like one of the only things you can grab. Well,
Excuse me? I
don't know.
I don't understand.
I don't know what the play was there.
Because now a Palkia V-Star could come online, and you were definitely going to hit an energy if you were counting on hitting a Jet Energy. Oh, it's in deck. Oh, no.
Well, what do you even grab here, right? Because there's not like there's anything you can grab to really...
You can't even get Luminion. Bro, I'm hurting. Oh, there was only one Jet to grab. That was not the play. Comrade, it could... Oh, no. A single boss to Luminion will end the game. Not the gentle slap for 30! Oh,
no.
Oh, no. I mean, like, I get... Okay. You needed the double turbo energy to be able to attack with the Bloodmoon Ursaluna here. Right? So I guess the thought was, I'm not going to get that card. Meanwhile, I chose him in the hand, the Jet Energy doesn't. Because there were more double turbo in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like just the price you gotta pay with this, right? You gotta just hope that you
That's
can
true.
get it. But this Ultra Ball is going to grab that Origin form Palkia. There's also a Night Stretcher in hand, ready to go as well.
A boss. A single boss. Whoa.
No
Okay, there's the
boss,
water.
but we do have an energy attachment. The Origin form coming down. The both attackers ready to go, and then the Iono coming down to shuffle both hands away.
Fortunately, Prime Catcher's not a card in the deck.
Right,
No one will be
correct.
playing a Prime Catcher.
I will tell you this.
That's unthinkable.
There is a boss in hand now.
Please, not like this. I mean, I know they just played Iona, so there's no boss coming down this turn, but like,
Man, this glass
this is so
trumpet
dire.
is so dumb. This glass trumpet just in the deck is so good. Being able to just retreat Tarapa's
Okay.
Trumpet back onto it.
Wait, the game is over. The game is over. No, wait, the Jet Energy. The game is not over. Sorry, I was being delulu for a moment
No,
because I was like, oh, you can't retreat, you can't do anything. Like, you're just gonna attack and then have to pass. But no, you can just Jet Energy out of it.
Right.
But there's the boss.
Yeah.
Mr. Soda King proving once again cannot be stopped.
Mr. Soda
Will
King
not be
menace.
stopped. Scooped. That's 2-0 for a second time for Mr. Soda King in this top. Moving to top 4. Incredible work. Lugia has been taken down. Whew. Sheesh.
And folks, with that, we will be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. As we get ready for our next match, we figured we'd chat with you about what we saw today and kind of like talk about how cool this Palkia deck is. I don't know. Michaela, how are you feeling about it?
You know, it is a deck that does everything. One of the principles of good card game decks in this meta, and in all metas, frankly, is the ability to draw cards. And no one is doing it like Palkia and Noctowl is doing it. Noctowl grabs searches, just like Palkia and Teleon used to. 2 trainers. That's it. No questions asked. It's on a stage 1 this time. That was a winning combination 2 years ago. It's a winning combination now. Being able to get everything you want in your hand like that off of a single Ultra Ball is extraordinarily powerful and lets you build great combos. But you have to do it in conjunction with these 2 attackers that are, you know, a little bit at odds with each other. I mean, they both use the bench space, don't get me wrong. But Terapagos is there hoping that you build your bench up. Meanwhile, Palkia is there hoping your opponent does more of the work for you. So it's subtle, but it's 2, you know, sides of the scale to balance at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and like there was a lot of times when we were like, looking at those matches, playing those matches, or watching, Soda King play those matches, where we were like, hey, look, we're about to, someone's about to win, and then you're like, oh no, wait, but Noctowl comes in here, searches the cards we need, gets us that boss, gets us, maybe that stretcher that we needed to recover a Pokemon, recover an energy, and just kind of win the game. It's kind of been insane how strong just overall this deck has been, especially using stuff like Glass Trumpet to get energy back on, and just recycling energy all the time. It's so good.
Glass Trumpet is so good. Just as a card. I mean, like, immediate search 2 from discard to bench. Like, that should be overpowered, busted. Anyway, I'm a lover. I believe in it. I'm a brass instrument believer.
I'm not saying that I'm building this deck anytime soon, but I do have all the cards for it to bring to my locals if I ever really wanted to. So it's real rough. As much as I really love this deck, I would love to see some other decks. Let's see if anybody else is playing right now. If not, we will continue to follow Soda King all the way through. Looks like
okay. Soda King's next matchup versus Gardevoir. The top 8 is pretty good mix right now. We have, let's see, who are our current top 8? We have a Palkia player, we have a Gardevoir player, we have a Ancient Box player, and our 4th top spot is undecided, although it is leaning towards our Raging Bolt player instead of our Charizard Pidgeot player, who are still in the middle of their top 8 best of 3.
Right, and looking at it right now, let me look at the pairings as we're going through it. It looks like Mr. Soda King is playing right now. Stream is back up, and they are playing their matchup against Gardevoir. So if you're ready to see that, we can go get ready to get that game rolling.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we will be right back as I get that set up, guys. See you in a sec. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are here with Gardevoir versus Palkia Terapagos.
I know looking across the field, it might look like it's not a Gardevoir deck because there's a Dark Energy on the Flutter Mane, but trust me, that's a Gardevoir deck.
That's true. Sometimes I miss Ancient Box. Other days, I'm very glad that it's gone.
Yeah, I miss Ancient Box too, but my aim is getting better. Shameless. Terapagos is coming down onto the bench that will trigger Area 0 Underdepths if it's ever played down from hand, which I suspect will happen at some point in the future, like right now.
Yeah.
And wow, what a setup for Mr. Soda King. Turn 1. kind of the ideal. Living the dream. How will Gardevoir come back from this?
I mean, it's real rough, right? Because you never know if Gardevoir is going to be able to really push through this, right? Because like the biggest problem with Gardevoir is that it needs time, and this deck will not give it time. This is not an aggro deck, but this is a deck that is very consistent with what it's trying to do.
The disrespect of promoting the Greninja.
Yeah.
The disrespect. Oh,
look, let's be honest, right? That is you know, the Greninja, or I'm sorry, that is Mr. Soda King saying, look, I am going to knock out whatever you put on the bench, so be ready for it.
In my lane, moisturized, thriving, like just not a complete unconcern with the fact that there'll be no KOs this turn, no damage whatsoever. You're just sitting comfortably, preparing, and you don't even conserve the energy so you can retreat. I mean, that's just brutality. But the other good thing about that is that you have to put that energy in the discard in order to use Palkia V-Star, in order to use Greninja. So you definitely had to put the energy down. It's just I don't know.
Oh, there comes the Manaphy. Okay, never mind. Sometimes you flex and you flex a little too hard, right?
You flex your way right into the sun.
Exactly. I wonder if we're getting to the point where this list is going to have to try to run canceling colognes for certain things, right? Not that you would use it all the time, but running canceling cologne is almost never a bad thing.
I mean, the option is cute, and it has utility outside of just this matchup. Like, if you were looking down at Iron Thorns, you'd be like, oh no, my Palkia can't go in the active anymore. I can't even use the ability. And, like, maybe it'd be nice if you could just clear off Iron Thorns so you could Noctowl for a turn. Things like that.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Maybe I'm overthinking it, right? Maybe I'm thinking that, like, because it takes so much to get the Canceling Cologne to work on the Manaphy, it might just be better just to attack around it, right? You attach, retreat, get your Palkia into the active, right? Or, you know, Glass attack, you know, I don't know. There's so many different options.
A Trumpet into retreat into Boss's Orders would not be out of the question because there's only a single Ralts down. Are we sure this is a Gardevoir deck? That's very unusual. Scream Tail in the discard. There's the Ralts. Okay. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, one Ralts? Excuse me?
Right.
I mean, I trust Koiwashi. We've seen him in the top consistently across late night EU, and every single time Koiwashi's playing Gardevoir with his whole heart and soul. So, you know, not to just like question the Bob Ross of Gardevoir, but those trees don't look like Happy Little Accidents to me.
Yeah, I mean, either way, right, I see some real bad struggle around here, and I'm hoping that, you know, as the Gardevoir fan I am, I'm hoping Gardevoir can push it into the finals.
Okay. Now, taking a peek at this Tatsugiri, what do you think about that?
Man, I don't know how I feel about the Tatsugiri, like, edition, right?
I think it's pretty.
It's really good. Remember when it first came out and everybody's like, this is going to be a one of in every deck. This is going to be Jirachi a skateboard all over again.
But it wasn't.
No, I think the format...
We just have a lot of draw.
Too fast.
Yeah. I mean, why would you search for one supporter when you could just play 6 supporters?
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Like, Luminion's not...
Discarding the Glass Trumpet.
I don't think...
What am I looking at here? No way. Like... If anything, maybe the Night Stretcher, the Irida, but like you never want to discard the Night Stretcher, but like you might have to discard the Night Stretcher.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Of course.
Okay, it's gotta be Noctowl. That's not a Noctowl. That's a little bird.
Yeah, that's a Hoot Hoot.
What are you doing?
A Hoot. I can't even.
Hoot would do that. Mr. Soda King is making a face.
Only attaching one energy, which I understand, right? The idea is that you want to fully utilize the Palkia V-Star ability.
Dog, what?
No, I think this is
I'm
sick.
sorry.
This is sick. Watch.
What? But you can't. The Manaphy's in play.
Yeah, but now you're gonna knock out the Manaphy with the Fan Rotom, because it hits for 70 exactly.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
a chain knockout. Especially
Okay.
Jet Energy that was taken off the prize. Let's go.
That's good. You definitely want to see that. Because now you can put 4 energy down on your Greninja and threaten a double attack with it if you don't get an immediate Night Stretcher Super Rod Nest Ball.
Man, this is such a crazy matchup. I'm excited to see, like... Oh, Artisan comes down, getting rid of the Area 0 Underdepths. Understanding that Squawkabilly comes out, and then... What else?
That's fine.
Yeah, I guess you get rid of a Hoot Hoot here, right? You have to.
At least one. At least one. That third discard is going to be the tricky one. You're keeping the Greninja, you're keeping the Palkia, you're keeping the Terapagos, so you get to keep 2 more. You probably lose another Hoot Hoot.
I can see him hovering the Terapagos to get rid of it, and I get it, but like there's an Area 0 Underdepths in hand, and there's no guarantee.
No, you need the Terapagos so you can knock out. You can't discard the Terapagos.
He does have
it's got to be the
hand, right? So if Fan Rotom gets knocked out, he could just play another one. Right.
But Fan Rotom's not getting knocked out. Look at that board state. There's not even a Curlia in play. It ain't happening. Although Manaphy Super Rod is now at risk. Artisan, yep, that'll do it. I'll do it. So you're gonna need another boss to knock out that Manaphy to get the peak energy Greninja play that we're looking for.
I do like the Tatsugiri, being able to use the TM evolution, right? That way you don't have to put something like a Ralts in the active or, whatnot. And Tatsugiri is going to sit in the active anyway, so you're just like, look, I'm going to give up a 1 prize anyway. Might as well be something I don't really care about. And if it sticks in the active, I'm not that upset.
Mm-hmm. And Curlia stonks are up, so...
Yeah, Curlia stonks are very, very up.
Here's 0 Underdepths. Another Rotom? That Rotom is a pretty easy discard, so I don't hate it. There's just not a ton of use for it, but I don't hate it.
I really don't know how I feel about
Jet to second. Hold up.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I guess if you're trying to use Bibarel, but like, wouldn't you just get more cards like Bibarel than Greninja and discard it? Like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Like, this is something where I think I'm gonna have to defer to someone that knows more than I do on the subject.
It's true. We have to trust Mr. Soda King. I mean, we've witnessed Mr. Soda King in action. We have to trust Mr. Soda King is not cooked from multiple rounds of a difficult deck. And I'm ready to believe.
Well, I think the idea here is, right, Jet Rotom's going to be able to knock out anything anyway. Or, I'm sorry, Fan Rotom's going to be able to knock out anything anyway with the Jet energy attached, right? So it's like you might as well bring it up. You might as well have multiple 1 prize attackers there because you don't want to have to use Palkia to refill. You don't want to have to use any of your other resources to refill with Terapagos. You kind of want to take it slow, right? And the way you
I don't interrupt you, but
the Rotom. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, drawing the Prime Catcher off the prizes, I didn't even notice that was prized. That's essential to getting rid of that Manaphy. Reset stamp? Ooh. Slam that Ace Spec button.
Yeah, here comes the Gardevoir EX2 off the Ultra Ball.
We're getting so many A-Specs. I'm kind of waiting for us to get an A-Spec that lets you use 2 A-Specs or something silly like that. Like, I know we're not. But what if we did?
Or like something that allows you to get back like items from your discard or something.
I mean, that's just... Let's calm down there. That's just broken.
I mean, yeah. Like, last thing we want is to be able to chain that.
Yeah, if you could chain Brilliant Blender, you have 10 in the discard immediately. I mean, that's super good for Ancient Box. That's super good for certain Lugia lists. I think a lot of electric types would not be super opposed to that either. So you can just get your attackers down, generator, go. I mean, that's turbo to the extent that might be toxic.
That's true. That's true.
That's like a 1/6 of your deck.
Yep. And here we see Gardevoir doing Gardevoir things, right? Loading up onto that Flutter Mane, using the Monkey Dory to move stuff around, and then just getting, the attack onto the barrel, loading up damage onto the Palkia.
Yep.
And here comes that trusty Fan Rotom into the active.
It is not a 6-3 lead. It's going to be a 5-3 after this turn, barring any kind of dramatic move. With Manaphy still in play, Greninja is offline, and so that V-Star ability gets saved just in case, which means we're probably not going to see a Boss Palkia 2-for-1 combo. But I'm willing to believe.
Yeah, I think that you don't want to use the Noctowl if you can avoid it, right? Because the Noctowl is going to be so useful late game, especially because
you only have the one
Hoot out.
Man,
this is such a rough situation.
Hoot, 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 hoot. It's only Hoot right now.
Yeah, it is singular Hoot.
Woo! Okay, there's a nest ball. There is just nothing to get off this nest ball. I mean, what is that Terrapagos? What is that second Terrapagos really doing for you besides thinning the deck? I mean, I would do that anyway, but like, you're not securing the bag with this kind of play.
Well, I think
I like benching Klefki here. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it's actually just used to make sure that your opponent doesn't knock out a Terrapagos and immediately turn off your stadium.
What? Are we gonna get a one-hit KO off the Palkia? Ooh.
Yeah, there we go.
Star Portal. Man, it's gonna put 3 energy down across the field.
I mean, this is the power of this deck, right? Like, you're so resilient. You know, you can't really get checkmated because you have so much going on. You have Noctowls, you have Star Portal, you have Glass Trumpets, you have Gen Energy to move people around. You know, like, even if you don't play optimally, you can kind of get yourself out of these situations as long as you know what your cards do.
Yeah, and I'm liking the way that getting rid of the B-Barrel has made it so you're going to need to rely on Pheasantipity, which is going to mean Screamtail now has some good targets. Although, you're mostly capped at 160 with that, so getting rid of Squawkabilly is never good.
Right. And with that, we're going to see the Adrena Brain coming from the Monkey Dory to attack and confuse the Palkia.
Yeah, that might be some of your only outs when you don't have a one-shot option and you just lost Gardevoir. So this is not a surprise to me. And there's not a lot of ways for this deck to recover, especially with the Gen Energy gone. You're going to need to top deck one or something.
Yeah, because you
can't even get
what
not
retreat.
No, never. Not off the search you just had to do with the V-Star ability.
I wonder if there's
it's a shame that Stretcher can't pick that Jet up.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a world that the Noctowl comes down and like these lists start playing like a one of Switch.
No, I mean, Adrena Brain is just such a random card.
Oh, no,
but everyone's forgotten how to build for status effects now.
That's true. Well, there is a Prime Catcher that can be grabbed, right? So Prime Catcher is essentially your Switch.
Okay.
And there's a Judge coming down too, possibly?
That's good. Well, that's a good combo. Yeah.
So if you're Soda King, right, you Prime Catcher up the Manaphy, I guess, and then Judge?
Well, I mean, what's the point of Prime Catching the Manaphy if you don't have more water energy to put down?
Oh, you're right. So it should probably...
Maybe Curlia?
Yeah, it's Curlia, it looks like.
I mean, one of the sad things is you kind of want to knock out the Monkey Dory. It's just not happening. Interesting. Oh, you're promoting the Greninja so you preserve the Rotom so you can Rotom into Manaphy or something.
Right.
Okay, grabbing a water energy to hand, going on to the Terrapagos so you can maybe use Trumpet. And it's getting judgmental up in here. There's the Gen Energy, would have been great to have that sooner, but this is the best you can do with it. So
right,
knock out the Curlia. One prize remains.
Yeah, and the Glass Trumpet being in the prize cards.
Woo.
Ready to go. I don't know if this is a good matchup with how Gardevoir is currently built. Maybe if you're playing like an item lock, you're playing the Banette Gardevoir, this matchup's a lot better.
Yeah.
Right? But
I mean, that was so clean.
Gardevoir.
Okay, Iona won. That's got to be the first part of your plan. That's literally... There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, if you just don't get the Gardevoir, you just don't play the list, or you don't play the game, right? Like, it's just not good, unfortunately.
I mean, Mind Bend doesn't even stop you because you just retreat. I mean, like, it's... If this was in real life, you flash the water energy, your opponent scoops. Like, that is not winnable. Koiwashi is, I think, putting 2 and 2 together on this, that if there's a single water energy, just immediately hit the concede button.
Oh, I completely get it, right? Like, there's nothing else you can really do here. Do you even need to go that far? You probably could have just jet energied, but, I mean, I guess it's the same thing.
What would you look at that?
Man,
just...
We knew it. We knew it.
Ooh.
And with that, that's that first game done out of the best of 3 of the semifinals.
Look at Soda King just taking a big gulp of air, whew, we did it.
Well, I mean, think about it, right? It's late over in the EU. They're playing super late. They're, trying to make it to finals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Playing a deck that, you have to kind of, you got to think about certain actions. You got to... It's not complicated, but it's not the easiest deck in the world either.
It's not automatic. I mean, you can make the smallest error and not even notice it because it was 3 turns ago.
Right. Who do you think... okay, so what do you think about this matchup overall? How do you think the Gardevoir player gets out of it?
Gardevoir player is starting from the back foot, which is nothing new to Gardevoir. They usually work around that by either inflicting repeat confusion, being able to pick off support mons in the back of the bench, stranding something active, but versus a deck that's got switch energies, versus a deck that has Noctowl to search for things, versus a deck that can put away the Squawk ability after putting it down. All of those venues are fixable as long as your player plays correctly. I think what Gardevoir has to do to make this happen, one, keeping Fluttermane active for a pretty good start in the opening, I think is part 1. Part 2 is probably have more Gardevoir, evolutions out, so you want more Kirlia than the 2 you had last game. Keeping Manaphy out is essential, but if it burns too many of your resources and you never get going with attackers, it's not worth it. I think what you have to do is just use every tool available to you to make it impossible to attack. So repeat on the Monkey Dory attacks. Make sure you maybe not clear through the Area 0 underdepths. Maybe leave one when they have a bunch of liabilities on the bench. And I mean, they had to do it for the Artisan last game, so I don't think it was wrong at all. But you definitely want to see an opening like this with 3 Ralts rather than an opening with 1 Ralts and a question mark.
Well, because you know how it is when you play against Gardevoir, right? Like, the way that you win against Gardevoir is just picking off the Kirlias, making sure they never get Gardevoir out.
Mm-hmm. And this is a game of incremental wins. Every single turn is relevant to the outcome of this game. Instead of saying, oh, you take a 2/2/2 prize path on Raging Bolts, you have to go, well, this turn you could do this turn you could do this. Which one is going to give me a higher percentile win rate? And the answer is usually you don't know unless you have the kind of intuitive knowledge of this deck that Koiwashi has. Prime Catcher early.
100%. And I think that Prime Catcher early might be a good thing, right? Because you go, maybe you set up Prime Catcher. So, no matter what, right? We have to get the Fan Rotom here to start things out. I don't know if I like discarding the second Underdepths, but I get it because you have a research in hand, right? So
yeah, I mean, stuff's gonna go.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like you said, I don't know if I like the Fan Rotom here, but knocking out the Manaphy, trying to get yourself set up with Radiant Greninja might be okay here. You go, yup, this is actually, they're checking for the Radiant Greninja, which is in the list.
Okay, fan call. Get all your fans on the call.
Yeah, I think I like the 3 Hoots here. The reason being is that if you get all 3 out and then you start filling up more with Area 0 Underdepths, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will be able to just simply, knock off a... you will just be able to knock off a Hoot if you need to, later on down the line.
Mm-hmm. The birds are back in town. Now, this is an interesting play. Choosing to put down the Area 0 Underdepths when you know you're not going to have 3 more bench to put down, and it's now vulnerable to discard. What do you think about that?
I think it's really good because it makes your opponent have to make a choice, right? You're like, hey, look, I'm setting up for this. Do you want to knock this out now and waste it now, or do you want to do it later when I already have a full bench and you can knock stuff out, right? I really like this play because if Area 0 gets knocked out and there's nothing else out in bench, okay, cool, you have 2 more in the deck. right? You could just find them, right? I know it's saying just find them, but you know what I mean.
I mean, you've Noctowl to just find them. I don't personally agree with it. I think I'm gonna run counter to you here because I'm like, if it's in your hand, it's safe. What are they gonna do? Iono you to a hand of 5 on turn 1?
Mm-hmm.
But the answer is they actually might because there's Gardevoir. So there's the stadium gone. It is not protected. I don't know if I would have made that choice, but I think it's important to highlight that this player, who we know is good, has made that choice. I don't think it's because it's late. I don't think it's a misplay. I think that was intentional.
Right, and I think the idea was that, so like Artisan coming down right now, right, is fine, right? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things of like, you're going for incremental advantage, like you were talking about earlier, right? And one of those things is hoping that your opponent doesn't have something to put down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if I like us discarding the energy here, but totally understand. Hey, look, there's that other Area 0 Underdepths, along with a Noctowl, along with some other awesome stuff, too.
Some good sauce. Okay, and Palkia V-Star.
Man, this is such a weird situation, right? Because you don't want to, like you said earlier, right? You don't want to drop the second one out there because the Artisan's not doing much else right now. But you also don't want to just simply Area 0 Underdepths when it's not needed.
Yeah, with the Manaphy being searchable off of Artisan, anytime that you have Artisan in play, you have to be like, okay, Greninja's not happening, I got it, and move on. But,
it might also be because it's getting late for him as well, right? He's getting tired, you know, trying to figure out how to most effectively do all these plays.
That could be a factor. You know, sometimes there's, again, tunnel vision. You could just completely lose it and just drop down a card because it looks pretty and shiny in your hand.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that our pro players do that because that's extremely rare. But even, you know, even Tord Reklev can do that from time to time. It's just like completely blank because you're maybe not on autopilot, especially when you're in the late of the series and you're like, well, I could win and this could be it. But sometimes just the human instincts, the monkey brain gets the better of you. No.
That's okay. Speaking of having a monkey brain, monkey see action, right? Have you played Mahjong before?
Have I? Yes. Good game.
So I play Mahjong on an online client with friends. You know how many times I see the pawn button and open up my hand right away by accident?
Very often.
A lot. There are times where I'll be like, pawn, gotta do it. Chi, gotta do it. You know?
Pawn.
Pawn.
Con. Okay, well, we've got Pikachu to keep us company, so it's okay.
How do you feel about Pikachu EX as a card and as a deck type?
Topaz Bolt is just an unusable attack cost. Grass, Lightning, Metal, that ain't happening. I mean, Raging, like, okay, if it was Grass, Lightning, Fighting, I could sit down and go, this is a place in Raging Bolt, this is a finisher for Raging Bolt, not that it needed one. There's a world in which it's usable in an existing archetype, so that means you can piggyback it in. But Metal, instead of fighting for that attack cost, I just look at it and I'm like, no one is going to do 3 different color energy to a basic for 300 to discard all of them right after. We don't have a Vikavolt Tapu Bulu anymore. We don't have any easy attach acceleration energies except for the Lost Zone one. And this isn't the same as like Lost Zone Dragonite, which had a similar niche, don't get me wrong. It's not the same because that ability can be shut off. Right. And as soon as that ability is shut off with something like Canceling Cologne or Iron Thorns or, you know, even I wouldn't say Fluttermane because Fluttermane would take a 2-hit KO on that thing. But whatever scenario you've got set up, that ability is not just this like super strong armor that it looks like it is at first. I see this card as like
early game.
I think it has 2 problems.
Okay.
It doesn't need to exist, and it doesn't have the sort of staying power that it could have had if it maybe had like 220 HP or the ability couldn't be turned off by other abilities. Like it's like missing something for me to call it good. It's just close to good.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of people brewing with it. There are some people using Blissey EX and using stuff like, you know, Trumpet to get energy out of the discard, put them onto Blissey, and then move them up with Blissey's ability.
That's just cope to me. Like, Pikachu is already a card that requires 4 resources, the Pikachu and the 3 energy.
right.
Adding Blissey means you've got another 2 basics, and you need a Glass Trumpet. And frankly, you need like 2 Glass Trumpets, because a Glass Trumpet will put down 2. So it's 8 cards you need to use a 300 energy attack. But then you have to keep doing it, because you have to keep charging up the Pikachu. I
Right.
don't think it works. Oh my god, TCG Live! Get
What
it
is
together,
going on
broski!
in our finals with TCG Live. Let's check
No,
the dashboard as we go through.
not the dashboard.
We
I'm looking at
don't-
pairings. I'm looking at pairings.
Yeah, unfortunately it is 1-1 now because the server went down mid fight. It's crazy.
I hate to see it. In the other side of top 4, by the way, we have Raging Bolt versus Ancient Box. That is so far going in the direction of Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt is 1-0, which is shocking to me because Ancient Box usually has a super good Raging Bolt matchup. Might have been a Iona to 1 situation.
I'm not quite sure, right? Like it's one of those things that like I don't see the matchups enough to really know much about it.
So the good thing about Ancient Box is it's all 1-prizers, and Raging Bolt traditionally has a problem with that because they're all 2-prizers.
Oh, cause
So as long as you can take 1 KOs, it's quote unquote Jover.
right.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? Because the fact that you get to take advantage of the fact that Raging Bolt is so hard to work around, because Raging Bolt needs to go through so much effort to unattach and to do all this stuff, while Ancient Box is sitting there like, look what they have to do to mirror a fraction of our power, right?
Yeah, it's rough. The good old days of Lost Box are not over. I mean, Lost Box had some good results this year, but Pikachu is not about to put it back on top.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a shame.
Look, if there is an avenue that it will happen, right? Pikachu might be played in Lost Box, but like as like your other attacker, right? But do I see it being the deck? I don't think so. I know I have some friends that are highly speculating on it too.
I mean, it's a fun card, don't get me wrong. Like, I think playing with that card is going to be extremely fun. But if you ask me if it's going to win a regional, I will go on record and say it will not.
You're telling me that, Pikachu EX with the ability that is the same as an Ace spec that already exists in the format that's not played, by the way, is not going to take over the format?
No, it's not. And I'm tired of us acting like it is.
Man, I'm just waiting for the day that Cinderace is good. But,
Keep waiting.
Yeah,
Keep waiting,
I missed my bus, like, forever ago. So
Which is a shame, because Garnet Volley is such a fun attack.
Oh, it very much is.
Yeah. That rabbit's just running a little too slow. Like, if that was a single fire energy attack for 280, I'm here for it, and I'm ready to believe. We don't live in that world.
Nope.
We live in the world where they play soccer.
Yeah, we live in the world that the best fire attacker is a dark Pokemon.
Oh. Too soon. I know that set came out a year ago. Too soon. Okay, Rotom searching out some Hoot Hoots. I'm seeing a repeat of our previous games.
Look, I will just tell you that after looking at this game, and like everything involved in this game, I think that this is a very good start, and I think that no matter what, there is a straightforward way to win here.
I don't want to misunderstand the narrative here, but I think the real method to win is to just not glitch out. I think that's the plan.
Oh, I
think we're gonna do it.
All you gotta do is take 6 prizes, and you win the game.
It's so simple. Just take your prizes faster than your opponent. I could do that. All right, give me into a game right now. I could take them.
Look, all I'm telling you is the government doesn't want you to know this, but Pokemon games are really easy. All you gotta do is just take 6 prize cards. I'm very excited for the Area Zero Underdepths to come down next turn, by the way, and for Mr. Soda King to just dump his hand and then high five Professor's research. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Professor's Research High Five is one of the classic moves of the game where, I mean, I've always reserved it for if your hand is 0, then you offer your opponent the high five. But if you're talking about something else, then I apologize.
No. I thought that they were going to be able to go down to 0. I forgot about the fact that the jet energy and the water energy were there. It has been late, so, it is what it is.
It's one of those hours o'clock. Here, there's the hoot hoot. Are we gonna Pheasantipity down, or are we gonna Pheasantipity hold? Ooh, or Pheasantipity discard.
Yeah.
Secret third option. The barrel could put down a Noctowl, which is pretty smart because if you have to discard one card because the stadium's gone, bam, there's your Noctowl gone. Easy peasy.
Yeah, because then you can recycle it way in the future.
Yeah, now you got a handful of stuff. Now you got Prime Catcher ready to go, or you just get Iono'd out of it, no big loss, or you just use it. Use it, knock out the mana fee.
Is it just me?
You have an
It's
Espo?
almost like a play-for-play repeat from Soda King of the last match.
Soda King has a plan.
Yeah.
And the plan is being executed. And so is this mana fee.
Unfortunately, rest in peace, Manaphy. We barely knew ye.
Yeah. She'll be back. Well, I guess Manaphy's the Prince of the Sea. He'll be back. I mean, I don't know if Manaphy's really the Prince of the Sea anymore. I mean, there's this whole like genderless thing. I mean, there's a whole
research. That's
okay. We'll do
research.
Tonight.
Oh, there's the TM evolution coming off the Arven. That's really good here because now we get the Gardevoir early.
Problem with Gardevoir, I mean, okay, with the bench being as low as it is, I think you can afford the Gardevoir here because that means Palkia's got to burn up the V-Star ability, and that means Radiant Greninja's not using it. So this is the time where you have to, you basically, like, it's like a chess move. You've pinned 2 options. Your opponent has to pick one of them and gives up the other. Reset Stamp. That's good. That'll help.
How do you feel
Not enough.
Live in a world where Reset Stamp is worse, or coming from formats where Reset Stamp was one of the #1 played cards, that Unfair Stamp is worse and is barely even played.
I think if that were an item, it would have been broken. If as an A spec, it's just competing with too many other things. There's too many cards right now that are A specs that really should just be like weakened items.
I actually don't like it because you're gonna see decks that don't play the optimal A spec that get to do something really, really cool because they're playing that A spec.
That's true.
Like Goldango.
This is about the Goldango propaganda,
It's all about
and I'm here for it.
Propaganda.
But just need your knowledge.
Look, I don't know about you, but I'm all for our cheese stick individual.
Cheese sticks? Oh
Yeah,
man.
like string cheese.
Yeah.
By
The
way,
dairy.
I really like this play from Soda King. Soda King playing the Buddy Poffin just to get it out of their hand before they play any Pokemon, because you cannot play it if your bench is full. So
You also get to shuffle that Iono,
Right.
so you can get the Prime Catcher back.
That is true. So all of it is just a very good stuff. Dumping the hand, being able to draw with the barrel, and kind of getting ourselves set up here.
It's a win for the culture. Now, are we gonna see a boss? I don't know. Oh, Prime Catcher's in the discard. Excuse me. Excuse my French.
I'll excuse it this time, but next time we should talk about it.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay, so Noctowl coming down. Searching for the Noctowl. What do you
Grabs
get
a
in this
boss,
situation?
most likely.
You
You get a boss. You get a boss, you knock out the mana fee, everyone goes home happy, bing, bang, boom.
Right, because let's talk about the unfortunate situation that Kaiowashi's going to have to do here to avoid the Greninja. You're going to have to get multiple Gardevoirs out into play, right?
Oh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Well, think about it, right? And then that's multiple problems that we have here, right? Like you're gonna have to deal with the fact that multiple Gardevoirs are gonna be in play. That's 4 prizes on the board that you normally wouldn't have, and that's easy pickings. So.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Okay, Assault Landing. It is making its way downtown, and Manaphy is going to the discard. Bye bye.
Can we talk about how Fanrotom has been the MVP attacker of this deck?
I wouldn't have expected it, but being able to do 70 for single energy, it turns out, is very good. And that's not even just versus Gardevoir, who's playing a ton of 70 HP cards, that's good in general because everyone's limiting themselves to 70 for Buddy Buddy Poffin. So as long as that archetype plays cards of that, rough, single prizer, evolves into another thing, kind of HP range, you're going to get some value off that Rotom. Provided you have a stadium to play, of course. Which you will.
The refinement coming down, getting rid of more of those psychic energies. Only 2 energies in the discard from from Koyawashi. This is not a great situation. But Artisan coming down and knocking some folks off the bench. Goodbye, Noctowls, as you said earlier. See y'all later.
It's been a good evening. Squawkabilly goes first, followed by the smaller birds. It's a whole flock in that discard.
Yeah, no United Wings in play here, though, unfortunately.
Nope. Although you'll be able to Night Stretcher, pick that Noctowl right back up. So hardly a concern. I mean, there's already a Noctowl in the discard, don't get me wrong, but like you'll be able to just clear the board after this with whatever you feel like clearing the board with.
Well, look, all I'm saying is that all according to Keikaku, okay? Editors know Keikaku means plan.
Not the Keikaku, bro.
I'm throwing you through a loop tonight.
Legendary. No, man. I mean, that's a deep cut. Kids today don't know about all according to Keikaku.
That's true.
Okay, Artisan. Manaphy, you got another one there, buddy?
There's the Super Rod. Oh, that stinks, right? Ooh. So the idea was that they were checking their deck. They were hoping they had the second Manaphy. They didn't have it in there with the Artisan, so they had to Super Rod it. But they're grabbing it from the Buddy Buddy Poffin, which is fine.
Okay.
Man, I don't know how I feel about that Tech Machine evolution going out. Right, if you don't have... Well, maybe you don't want to waste an attack on your turn, right?
You need to do something. But, I mean, like, I don't think the evolution TM is going to help you here because you need to be attacking. Like, you're down 2 prizes already. You need to be attacking. Like, 3 at the latest, you could start attacking, but...
Again, there's only 2 energy in the discard, right? So, like... There's not much you could do here. Hey, that's another thought too, right? Like, even though you're playing Stamp, you could play Blender and Gardevoir to get energies into the discard.
I mean, would you though? I mean, you could.
Stamp's already being flexed, right? People are playing Prime Catcher and stuff too.
I feel like Neutralization Zone is the card I would put into Gardevoir, and I've always liked that in Gardevoir because that card is just fun.
Card is very fun. Sometimes your opponents just quit if they don't have a way to bounce it.
Exactly, but like getting rid of the other stadiums first is also important. So it's such a late game card, and for Gardevoir you kind of need those early game cards more. So it probably won't happen. Like it'll probably settle on the one that searches out all your basics because that's just a good ace spec in general. Like that is so good as an option to just immediately set up. Like I'm sure that card's being slept on.
No, I don't.
Like people are saying it's good and it's being slept on because it's like that's just like your game is ready to go. You don't need no HP limits, no fooling around with EXV. You just get it set up.
I think the problem is that when you, well, let's look at what's going on here for a sec, and then we'll talk more about ace specs after this. But like we see another Noctowl coming down, and like the Fan Rotom being the active, and the Judge coming down. I don't actually know if. Obviously, you have to judge, right? Because you have a lot of stuff that you want to get rid of. You want to kind of downsize your hand and you want to get out of your current spot. But I didn't like the Judge to control your opponent's hand there.
It's definitely rough. Getting the Palkia V-Star is not. That's fantastic. Manaphy being down, obviously, it's, you need another boss to capitalize, but who cares? You can just knock things out with Fan Rotom. Why bother having attackers in this economy?
True. Assault Landing coming in there, getting a knockout. Fan Rotom carrying the team.
Fan Rotom MVP.
The one thing I really do like about Glass Trumpet too is being able to put energy onto things that they might try to like checkmate you into. Right? So like, Hoot Hoot can get it, Fan Rotom can get it, etc., and then you could just retreat from that. I mean, you also play Jet Energy, right? So it really doesn't matter. But, it always feels good to be able to, have outs.
Blood Moon Nurse Luna coming out of the prizes. If you've seen the hit short about bears recently on the Hulu, yes, chef, behind.
Yes, chef.
is a reference to a show about bears, but not a reference to a show about bears, beats, and Battlestar Galactica. That's a different show.
That's a deep cut now too.
Oh my god, that's a deep cut now?
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
Oh, it's over for me, man. It's concluded.
I don't know how to tell you this, but, you know, I feel like around the office you'd have to be worried about your Gardevoir deck being stuck in a Jello mold-like substance.
I think that could be true. That or the vending machine.
That's true.
Okay, Fluttermane coming down. Speaking of gelatinous substances, and it is just sitting there preventing nothing because it's on the bench. But you never know.
Right, and
It should come when you least expect it.
we see damage counters being put onto, you know, Curlia, being put onto Fluttermane, right? The idea is that we want to put Fluttermane into the active, shut off abilities, drop damage, but also be able to, you know, take the damage counters that are on the Curlia or on the Fluttermane and move them around with the Monkey Dory, right? A lot of times that you hit those numbers that you normally wouldn't be able to hit, it's because the Monkey Dory gets to move 30 onto your opponent's one of your opponent's Pokemon.
Yeah, the other cool thing is that with Fluttermane's attack dealing an extra 20 to wherever, you could put 30 onto the Hoot Hoot, 20 from the Fluttermane, and even if it evolves into a Noctowl, you'll be able to take that knockout next turn. It's another free prize.
Again, these decks are very sick. You know me, I'm a huge Gardevoir lover.
It's true, you are.
Gardevoir,
And I've been a hater from day one and been wrong repeatedly because of Koiwashi's Gardevoir, so, you know. Maybe this is sweet validation for me. Maybe this is some sort of schadenfreude, but even if it's not, I've been standing this Palkia deck all night.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so we know
let's be honest, right? Like, when it comes down to it, I think that the Palkia deck's probably in the better spot.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just because their ability to access boss effects for what seems like free.
Yeah, and underrated here is that you can't be using that V-Star ability with Palkia in the active with the Fluttermane on the opposing side. You're going to need to plan around if you're going to do your Greninja plays. And granted, man, if he's still there, so it's not happening. But, like, Nest Ball, thinking options over. That deck is starting to get a little thin. I think we might see a Fanrotham.
I feel like you have to, right?
I mean, you could just choose to pass. But it's going to be Fanrotham.
Well, the idea is, right, like, eventually you want to try to be able to knock out the Gardevoir. But, I don't know, right? Only 9 cards left in deck. It's huge.
Okay. I mean, you want basics down to take a one-hit KO with Palkia onto Gardevoir, but that's not happening if the stadium is bumped another time. So, are you looking into your Blood Moon or Saloon options? Are you holding that back?
Blood Moon won't have an ability in the active with Fluttermane as well, right? So.
Oh yeah, it's not coming down now. Wait, at 4 prizes remaining? Oh no. But you have to put down stuff for Palkia. Hey, boss. Trumpet. You might be a little bit ahead of me on what you're watching.
I'm a little bit ahead. I've been delaying my words on purpose to try to match up with you.
Aw, thank you. That's so thoughtful.
I'm sorry, I gotta talk about this really cool action that happened that you can't see yet.
Well, you should. I think it's insightful. Maybe I should be thinking a little bit ahead and like looking into the future so I can keep up with you.
That's true. You gotta predict. This is a play I really don't like, right? So, you know, Fanrotom's gonna retreat into the Palkia, and the Palkia will attack, right?
Yeah, that puts it in vulnerable range for the Monkey Dory as well. Mind Bend Confusion. I don't see any Gen Energy left. 280. Oof.
There's no draw, and it's all down to getting the boss's orders, right? So, you know, we kind of have to figure out, as the Gardevoir player, how do you get out of this situation with 4 prize cards left? So you have to get a knockout on the Origin form Palkia. I don't believe that... Is there a V-Star? Well, it doesn't matter if there's a V-Star left in deck or not, because the Night Stretcher's there.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, someone will be able to attack.
Okay, Gardevoir in the active. Gardevoir will not be able to take a knockout unless there's maybe a second Monkey Dory, or you just boss up one of the things that has less than 220 HP.
I think the play here...
Wait, no, I did my math wrong.
The
Sorry, I didn't
plan
mean
is to knock out the Terapagos. Because then you turn off the stadium, you turn off Glass Trumpet, right? And then they're still stuck with a full bench.
Not that they know this, but you could. Well, oh, you're right. The full bench. Because if you're not taking the knockout, now granted, you could take a knockout on the 220 Palkia with Miracle Force and a single Monkey Dory.
Right.
Okay, they look at the Tropicos knockout. I don't know if this works because Iono will do it because now the Night Stretcher and the Glass Trumpet are out of hand, and now Noctowl's also off. And Palkia can't take a one-hit KO because it doesn't have more than, 5 on its own side, and the other side has only got 4. So even with Kieran as a modifier...
Yeah, it just doesn't...
As long as that damage comes off Gardevoir.
Which it looks like it will.
Monkey Dory.
220. Okay. Oh, I see what's going to happen. You're going to take a double knockout next turn. Man, this might actually be sick. This might actually be sick.
Kieran could switch you out, but Palkia won't be able to take that knockout unless you put more things on that bench.
Yeah, and there's 1 energy left in deck, so you search for the energy, discard with the Radiant Greninja, hope you draw into something that gets you the game.
Good lord. And the other thing is you're not going to be able to take the double knockout with Greninja because oh wait, yes you can. Oh no, Manaphy's still there.
Yep, Manaphy's still there.
Manaphy's still there. That's not good. That's not good at all.
So if I am Soda King right now, I probably promote the Fan Rotom and punch for 70.
No, what are you gonna? You can't because don't you need a Terra in play to use the Glass Trumpet?
You have a Terra in the active.
Oh my goodness, I'm silly. Because you can't Ultra Ball and Kieran at the same time.
Right. Well, you have to cure it now, right?
Is there a Noctowl left?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so either. I think you need the Night Stretcher.
Yeah, this is just an unfortunate play, right?
Yeah, the slowness on the Kieran is because they're thinking their turn through. So it's not like a stall plan. It's like a thinking every action through before I take it plan, which is totally allowed. That's not against the rules.
Correct.
Star Portal does nothing for you. Ooh.
Yeah, this is just an unfortunate situation, right? Soda King was doing really, really well, and then just hit this wall.
Yeah, with the glitch going on at the same time. I mean,
it's really unfortunate.
Any boss at all will close this game out.
Right. Earthen Vessel, okay. So, the goal here is to remove any energy from the deck at all to make your refinements just better. Right? Refinement 1. Or, sorry, that's refinement 2. So here's the other thing you can do, too. You can move the energy now to get your prize cards to... Oh, never mind. Well, there's the double move, right? And then Turo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. Gardevoir there. So you're probably looking for a counter catcher, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any gust effect will close this game, so... You got one? You got any more of them gust effects?
Yeah, I don't know how you super close out this game. I think that... Okay, there's the retreat. Into the Monkey Door. Oh, they don't have a gust effect. Okay, so if they go for confusion, then that forces something. I feel like you still adrenaline to knock out the Terapagos here. You have to, because you have to shut off their access to Terra Pokemon, right? Yeah, and preventing Gardevoir move, yeah. Well, think about it, right? There's absolutely no reason to... I mean, so the only thing that it does is it turns off Counter Catcher, right? Mm-hmm. And that's worth it. I think so, too. I think it's just... Or you add it all to the active, but no, you have to shut off the Terra Pokemon, right? Excuse me? Oh, okay. They're just having some fun. Just having a goof and a gaff. Yeah, you're goofing about. Ultra Ball.
2 prizes.
Screamtail might do this, right? No, Screamtail may not do this.
No, can't do it. You need a
Oh, I
Lux
see what they're doing here.
Lux
They're gonna probably evolve here too, just in case, maybe. No, it's not even worth it to evolve. You just want it in hand, I'm guessing, because you don't wanna draw it next turn. Yeah, the Screamtail Fluttermane kind of wins you the game.
Yep. Super Rod, that's good. That'll put them back.
This is so rough. So I guess if I'm here, I Ultra Ball, right? If I don't have the other Palkia, which I don't, Ursaluna. So this is exactly what I was talking about earlier, right? The bench is locked up, so they can't, because their Terra Pokemon was taken out, they can't remove things off the bench. So they're stuck, and they can't use Ursaluna for the win.
It's even if you coin flip, you lose.
Right.
Oh, that's so Galaxy Brain.
Retreat into the
Rotom.
Into the Rotom.
Yeah. Is there a world where you just use Greninja here? Is there a world where you attack with the Palkia? Like the V? No, there's not.
No. You use Greninja here and you just take out the active to take your prize. But the problem with that is that enables Counter Catcher.
We'll forget about Counter Catcher. Can you even attack next turn? I guess you use the Blood Moon Ursaluna if you get knocked out.
Yeah, if you get knocked out, you Blood Moon Ursaluna, hope you draw an energy off the prizes.
Sag.
Actually, it's not good because there's no Terra Pokemon out.
And
that's game, right? Because there's Screamtail. Oh, Artisan came down. So Artisan's down. Artisan gets
maybe. I mean, Screamtail does it.
Yeah.
So
that feels so bad, right? Because Game 2 was lost not because of skill. It was lost because of a DC. Which is absolutely the worst.
No, Mr. Soda King is just holding their head. They deserve better. Oh. Koiwashi absolutely clearing the field here. I mean, every week, Koiwashi puts on like just miracle Gardevoir performance, and the rest of us are just in awe. I mean, it's so consistent, it's so good. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know how you win this. I think I don't know, like, and then they're just over here like, yep, done.
Yeah. Like every time that we've seen Koiwashi on stream, it's always been like, I don't know if you remember one time we had Turos and we had a triple Monkey Dory for the win.
You know, I would never forget that.
Yeah, the triple Dory. So
I wake up in a sweat in the middle of the night going, how will I ever make a play as good as the triple Monkey Dory Turo move? And I just can't do it.
Alrighty, folks, we're gonna go back to camera casting as we try to find a last stream of the night for our finals. If we can't find it, we'll talk about it. So we'll be back in like 2 minutes. Hello everybody, welcome back. Unfortunately, we do not have our final streamed right now, but we could talk a little bit about the match, what we think it would be, things of the sort. Our final round is Raging Bull Ogerpon versus Gardevoir. What do you think, Michaela?
Gardevoir has got a lot going for it there. It's a one prizer deck versus Raging Bolt. This Raging Bolt player has made it through one prizer deck, so maybe there's just a plan that I just don't know about. But I would say heavily favored Gardevoir.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Gardevoir is one of those lists that, I mean, and it's Koiwashi, who is a fantastic Gardevoir player. So you have someone that is skilled at playing it on top of a bad matchup overall.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, obviously we won't get to see it, but I would imagine that it would be a very good game to watch overall. So.
Mm-hmm. And we'll find out our results a little bit later. But also at the same time right about now, our late night NA tournament is just about to begin in 2 more minutes. So if you are not quite done with late night action for the evening, hop on over, give it a try, play round 1, see if you like it. If you're familiar with it, absolutely play round 1 because you know it'll be a blast.
And guys, I think that's it for us today. If you guys want to see more content like this, feel free to sub to the Shuffle Squad here where you see Pokemon content so many times a week. You get to see gameplay videos, new stuff, and a whole bunch of really rad videos that come from content creators of the Shuffle Squad. Along with that, guys, we will be back in a couple hours as Late Night NA will, show off their finals and some really cool stuff. And then before you know it, we'll have Surging Sparks. So the Surging Sparks meta will be soon. So guys,
yeah, that I believe is next week.
Yeah, next week. So we'll see you then. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. We will see you soon. Have a great night.